who was the most difficult to cast?
Difficult to find?
Yeah, to get the right
Uh,
essence.
oh,
Which
Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd by a mile.
Live from New York,
Chevy Chase, Gilda Radner, Dan
Aykroyd. These can't be the right size.
Yeah, you're right. They should be a little bit smaller.
and action on rehearsal. And now, weekend update.
Good evening.
Corey as Chevy Chase and Dylan as Dan Aykroyd they were marvelous. Everyone was marvelous. But who was the most difficult? I mean, obviously, you want to hire somebody who has you want to put emphasis on the acting, not so much the looks, right? But who was the most difficult to cast?
Difficult to find?
Yeah, to get the right essence.
Oh, Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd by a mile. The easiest was Lamorne Morris. He came in, he was the third person we saw for Garrett, and it was just lights out.
He was perfect.
He was undeniable. He was just perfect. And he understood, and so many of my conversations with Lamorne were about his experiences on movies and television shows where he felt like an outsider, where he was the only black actor, where he was sometimes older than the other cast. He understood that existence, and he and I would have great conversations, and he would inform me and give me a better understanding of Garrett's experience, and we would rewrite based on that. With Aykroyd, I've known Aykroyd my whole life, and so I have a very detailed sense of who Dan Aykroyd is, and I, in fact, directed Dan Aykroyd in my last movie, my Ghostbusters movie, so I had a very particular, barometer for who that was going to be. It's also hard because I think we forget how charming and charismatic Dan was, and that he had sex appeal. I don't think that's something that people these days associate with him, but back in the day, I mean, he was a blues brother. I mean, he was cool, and so we'd have a lot of guys come in, and they would do that hyper intense, fast diction, and they were very funny, but they lacked Dylan's sex appeal, for lack of a better word. And when Dylan walked in the door, he was just as funny and quick and witty, but he also, I mean, he's a leading man, and I think it's that combination that made him perfect.
Yeah, he surprised me because it's so different from what he's done in the past.
100%. And I think that's John Papsadero, our casting director's genius, is his ability to not only discover people, but discover something within an actor that you already know that you've just never seen before.
Good job.